Ben 10 is an animated TV show that many people grew up with, including myself. It stars a 10-year-old boy and his grandpa and cousin as they go on summer break. This simple synopsis makes this show seem like a forgettable cartoon, but this show is much more than that. Ben 10 is a story about a boy and his journey on becoming a hero. Ben 10 starts his journey when he gets the Omniverse, a watch that allows him to turn to 10 different aliens at the start, that is. With this watch, he gains alien transformations and powers and abilities that those aliens have. Ben is a young and he's a jokester, but he also shows immediate displays of heroism right off the bat. I mean, on the first episode, we can see that he's already fighting against a big-ass robot that's trying to kill him, his family, and trying to harm campers at the campsite he's in. He has no idea what the watch is or what it does, but he doesn't hesitate to act. Ben is goofy and laid back, but very similar to other superheroes like Superman and popular Marvel or DC heroes. He's allowed to be goofy, and at the end of the day, he's still 10, so... But even in the classic series, Ben shows us that it's not the watch that makes him the hero, but that he is the hero. My favorite act of heroism that perfectly encapsulates just how much of a hero Ben is when he goes up against one of the main bad guys of the series called Vilgax, who's this big-ass squid alien monster who could beat his ass and is a threat to the whole entire universe. By the end of the episode, he ends up losing his watch, which makes Ben really depressed and feel useless to the world, as he's no longer has the watch that makes him a hero. Instead of giving up and letting the Earth and the universe face the wrath of Vilgax, he just gets a gun and goes up to square against Vilgax after getting a pep talk from Gwen. He fully knows that he's probably gonna die, but come on, bro, he's fucking 10 and he's already fighting against a big ass squid alien in a freaking dimension that's floating rocks, and he's not even scared of or knowing that like he's gonna die. I mean, the motherfucker has some balls on him. If I don't know what a hero is, that is a hero. Ben owes a lot of his heroism and his journey on his cousin and grandpa Max that he grew up with when they were on their summer break. Max is a huge influence on his life, as Max is a plumber who is a space cop who's also renowned to the universe as he saved the universe multiple times. Grandpa Max instilled into Ben what he learned as a plumber and what it means to be a hero. A hero is about doing something good for the sake of it and not whether somebody knows you did it or not. This is important as Ben at the start of the series was really just wanting the world to know about his secret and who he was, and he thought that the watch was the coolest thing that was going to make him famous. But a hero doesn't do this because of a reward. A hero does it because he should, and it's the right thing to do. Grandpa Max, similar to like other characters like Uncle Ben, both know that with great power comes great responsibility, and Ben as a kid doesn't really understand that, but even in the original classic series, you see that Ben's learning the teachings of Grandpa Max and to uphold the most powerful weapon in the universe as a virtue of responsibility for everyone. Gwen, on the other hand, is a foil to Ben as she's smart and young, just listens to Grandpa Max all the time. But even Gwen knows that Ben is a hero, and it's not the watch that makes him the hero. She would always tell him when he was down that to never fear his enemies, and that somebody needs to be the hero, and he's always been the hero, even with or without the watch. But if we were to get back to the series, there is about a 5-year time skip, and that's when the new series starts, and he's 15. This is called Alien Force. We start the series with him no longer having a watch on his wrist, and he's living a normal life. It's never really stated the reason why he took the watch off, but for a time the world was at peace from world-ending threats, and the hero wasn't needed anymore. The watch also tracked villains to Ben and the Earth, so Ben knew as a hero the best thing to do was to take the watch off at the time. He immediately puts the watch back on once he finds out there's a new alien threat that's harming the universe and Grandpa's Max's life. He now has a journey with his cousin and his ex-nemesis Kevin. I want to point out Kevin because Kevin being in Ben's life shows another act of heroism that Ben displays. Kevin is a bad guy who harmed many people and was sent to the No Void, a prison for alien threats. Kevin shows us that Ben has the ability to give people a second chance, and he can understand that people are capable of change, and a hero should try and change a person for the better. Ben also has many acts of heroism in Alien Force, another being with the hybrid, one of the main antagonists of the series. These hybrids see themselves as superior, but due to inbreeding, they no longer are able to reproduce, and their goal is to change everyone into their species by genetic manipulation. By the end of the big fight, Ben, instead of eliminating everyone, he shuffles their DNA into every alien in the unknown universe, so then they're still able to cling on to their being, and as well eventually being able to reproduce. So Ben understood that the hybrid were just trying to stay alive, and instead of doing what other heroes would do and just ending the threat, he ends the threat by also saving the hybrid species. This goes back to when I was saying that Ben knows about giving people second chances, and he gives these villains a second chance to become better. But these acts of heroism are almost nothing when it comes to the final arc of Ultimate Alien, the next series. By the end, they're fighting a floating squid monster called the Dagon, who's also, well, I don't really know if I forget if he's a monster / alien. It's really confusing, but he's kind of like Cthulhu. And the way Ben defeats Dagon is by using Azimuth's sword of Ascalon, who's a weapon of mass destruction that Azimuth made when he was very young. Opposite of what the Omnitrix is supposed to be, which is supposed to be a weapon of good and bring people together, or alien kind together. He stops the Dagon after defeating the Dagon. He now has the watch and the sword of Ascalon and can get rid of all evil in the universe. This is clearly an overstepping of his power, as Ben would be playing God and killing many people that would never get the chance of similar change to how Kevin got in his group. Ben has God powers, and in a few seconds he understands that the power is not good and rejects it, and displays a true act of heroism, as he's no better than the villains if he ends up killing everyone that's evil. What makes him more badass is that Azimuth is watching him the whole time, and by the end of it, he's so proud of Ben that he ends up telling Ben the whole truth of the Omnitrix, and that Ben was never even had the true Omnitrix. And by the end of Ultimate Alien, we see a glimpse of the true Omnitrix on his hand. Omniverse is the next and final series for Ben 10, and this series, or at least the main continuity, or Ben Prime, and this series is sort of a soft reboot, but all the previous events are still canon. The show has some issues, like some people are not used to the animation change, but Ben still has a lot of displays of heroism, and two of which I really want to touch on. The first one being able to tank the Big Bang level explosion called the Nihilarg in his hands, and he doesn't hesitate, as once the explosion goes off, he immediately jumps and holds it in his hands, fully knowing that he's probably going to die, but at least he's trying to save the universe and everyone. He's eventually able to survive by using his Alien X and his most powerful alien to eventually also recreate the universe. This alone settles that when it comes to the Earth and saving the universe, Ben will not hesitate at all costs to save everyone's life, not just good, but also evil's life. Ben was able to tank the Nihilarg and recreate the universe with some minor changes, but even throughout the whole arc, Ben was trying to figure out how to get rid of the Nihilarg. And while everybody was fighting for it and trying to hold on it, since it was the most powerful weapon in the universe compared to like the Omnitrix, Ben was just trying to figure a way out to save the Earth, while everyone else was trying to be of going for an arms race. The other act of heroism that Ben displays is at the end of Omniverse, or the end of the series, and that's when they're going up against a bunch of villains, and Omniverse and the multiverse is at risk as all the Bens are being eliminated. There's a big blast that's coming towards two Bens, and one of them being our Ben and Ben No Watch, who never got the watch in a different universe. Ben, with the watch, doesn't hesitate at all and jumps right into the blast, right in front of No Watch Ben, who has no experience with the watch or no experience of being a hero. No Watch Ben immediately gets the watch off Ben, who had the watch, and without hesitation, he immediately gets into action and starts beating up the villains and knowing what to do as a hero. I think this simple display of heroism shows us that even in other universes, Ben was always the hero, and it was never the watch, as No Watch Ben, who never had a watch, was immediately able to save everyone. Ben is someone who we should all strive to be as a hero or person, because he's also flawed and goofy all the time, but he knows at the right time, he knows when it's time to be a hero and when it's time to be serious, when the universe and the world is a threat or other people are a threat.